I want you to imagine for a moment that your life is a garden. You plant seeds of hope. You nurture dreams. You cultivate love. But what happens when weeds begin to grow? Weeds that choke the life out of your flowers. Weeds that drain the soil dry. Weeds that thrive only by stealing from everything good you are trying to create. Smart people, wise people know this. You don't negotiate with weeds. You don't try to convince them to change their nature. You don't give them permission to stay. Setting boundaries is not an act of cruelty. It is not a sign of weakness, selfishness, or arrogance. Setting boundaries is an act of profound love for yourself and for the life you have been entrusted to live. There comes a time in every person's journey when they realize that not every relationship, not every conversation, and not every demand deserves their energy. Smart people understand that protecting their peace is not a betrayal to others. It is a commitment to themselves. And that commitment requires courage, the kind of courage that doesn't come with applause or approval from others. It is the silent, steady courage to say, this is who I am, this is what I need, and this is what I will no longer accept. When smart people set boundaries, they do not stand on the stage seeking permission. They do not wait for a round of applause. They do not measure the rightness of their decision by how others react. They know deep in their spirit that their well-being is not up for negotiation. They know that people who truly love them, people who genuinely respect them, will honor those boundaries without guilt, shame, or manipulation. And if someone cannot or will not accept the boundary, smart people see that not as a personal failure, but as clear information about the limits of that relationship. There is a quiet power in refusing to explain yourself over and over again to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Smart people understand that explaining is often just another trap, another way to be drawn back into someone else's drama, someone else's insecurities, someone else's endless demands. They choose to step out of that cycle. They choose clarity over chaos. They choose their own mental health over another person's temporary comfort. When they set boundaries, they don't lace them with anger. They don't need to. Their power is not in shouting or blaming. Their power is in standing firmly in the truth of what they know they deserve. A boundary said softly, with certainty, carries more weight than 1,000 words said in anger. Smart people know that being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. You can say no with love. You can say, I need space with respect. You can say, this is not healthy for me with kindness. But what you cannot do, what you must not do, is abandon yourself in the name of keeping the peace. Peace that demands the sacrifice of your own soul is not peace. It is control dressed up as love. And smart people see through that disguise. They understand that every time they set a boundary, they are teaching people how to treat them. They are showing the world how they expect to be respected. They are setting the standard for their own lives. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are doors that you decide when to open and when to close. They are invitations to real connection, the kind of connection built on mutual respect, not obligation. The kind of connection where love is free, not forced. Smart people don't just set boundaries once and forget about them. They reinforce them as needed. They stand by them when they are challenged. They understand that discomfort from others is often a sign that the boundary is necessary, and they do not apologize for doing what is necessary for their well-being. You were not born to carry burdens that are not yours. You were not born to be everything to everyone at the cost of being something to yourself. You were born with a right, a sacred, undeniable right to protect your heart, to guard your energy, to preserve your joy. And setting boundaries is how you honor that right. Not with guilt, not with apology, but with a deep knowing that you too are worthy of the same love and care you so freely give to others. So the next time you feel that twinge of doubt, that whisper of guilt creeping in when you stand up for yourself, remember, setting a boundary is not a betrayal of others. It is a profound act of loyalty to yourself. And you owe yourself that loyalty. Always. There is a certain wisdom that comes with choosing not to engage. It is a wisdom that is hard-earned, often through years of experience, heartbreak, and lessons that leave a deep imprint on the soul. Smart people, wise people, learn that not every invitation to chaos needs a response. Not every slight requires a defense. Not every battle is worth fighting. There is a kind of strength that does not roar or shout. It simply stands still. It refuses to be pulled into the smallness of drama when life itself is calling them to something greater. When people are wrapped up in their own storms, spinning with anger, jealousy, insecurity, they often look for others to pull into their chaos. They throw out hooks of provocation, baiting you with insults, half-truths, accusations. They want you to join the argument, to step into the whirlwind with them, to lose your footing right alongside theirs. But smart people have learned a different way. They see the bait for what it is, and they smile, not with mockery, but with understanding. They know the cost of stepping into that storm. They know that getting pulled into drama rarely leads to peace, rarely leads to growth, rarely leads to anything but regret. There is a quiet revolution in refusing to participate, in choosing stillness over chaos, in choosing to keep your eyes on your own path rather than getting tangled up in someone else's mess. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to answer every provocation. You do not have to defend yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Smart people know that silence is often more powerful than the perfect comeback. Walking away is sometimes a greater victory than winning the argument. Choosing not to engage is not weakness. It is mastery. It takes incredible strength to resist the urge to defend your ego, to prove your point, to be seen as right. But smart people are not driven by the need to be right. They are driven by the need to be free. Free from unnecessary stress, free from emotional entanglement, free from the heavy, suffocating energy that drama brings. And when you refuse to engage, you give yourself a priceless gift, peace. You stay in control of your emotions, your reactions, your destiny. You do not let someone else's chaos dictate your mood, your energy, your day. You do not allow yourself to be dragged into the mud because you know that mud stains even if you are only there to argue your innocence. There is grace in letting things unfold without your interference. There is dignity in choosing your battles, and sometimes choosing no battle at all. Smart people understand that not everything needs their attention. Not every criticism needs their correction. Not every rumor needs their rebuttal. Some things are better left unanswered. Some battles are better left unfought. Some people are better left to wrestle with their own shadows without you stepping into the ring. By staying out of the drama, you protect your energy for the things that matter most. Your dreams, your health, your joy, your purpose. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You respond rather than react. You rise rather than sink. And maybe, just maybe, your refusal to engage becomes a lesson for others too. a mirror showing them that there is another way to live, a higher way, a freer way. You owe it to yourself to live above the noise. You owe it to yourself to keep your peace intact. And when the world tries to pull you into its chaos, you can simply smile, take a deep breath, and keep walking. You are not obligated to prove yourself. You are not responsible for fixing what you didn't break. You are free to choose your own peace over someone else's drama every single time. And that, my friend, is true power. There is something unshakable about a person who knows their worth. You can see it in the way they walk into a room. Not with arrogance, not with bravado, but with a quiet, steady assurance that says, I belong here. I am enough. Smart people know that. Self-worth is not something you earn from others. It is not a trophy handed to you after you have proven yourself. It is not a currency that rises and falls based on how people treat you. It is something you must claim for yourself, something you must nurture, something you must protect like the most precious thing you own. When you are grounded in your own worth, you stop letting other people's opinions become your mirror. You stop letting the moods, the criticisms, the rejections of others define your reflection. You realize that how someone else treats you is a reflection of them, not a measurement of you. Smart people understand that another person's inability to see their value doesn't take away from it. The diamond does not lose its worth because someone cannot afford it. The sunset does not become less beautiful because someone chooses to look away. There is such liberation in reaching the point where you no longer seek validation from those who cannot even validate themselves. You no longer twist and bend yourself to fit into spaces too small for your spirit. You no longer shrink yourself to make others feel comfortable. When you know your worth, you speak differently. You move differently. You say no without guilt. You say yes with your whole heart. You stop apologizing for taking up space, for having needs, for having dreams that are bigger than other people's expectations. Life will test your self-worth. Make no mistake about that. There will be moments when you will be overlooked, misunderstood, criticized, even betrayed. There will be moments when you will wonder if maybe, just maybe, they were right. Maybe you aren't enough. Maybe you should settle. Maybe you should give up. But smart people know that those moments are the very times you must dig your heels deeper into the soil of your spirit and remember who you are. You must remember that your value is not negotiable. Your value is not up for debate. You are worthy because you exist. You are enough simply by being. Staying grounded in self-worth means you don't chase people who walk away. You don't beg for love that has grown cold. You don't fight to stay where you are clearly not honored. You allow the door to close, knowing that what is meant for you will never require you to diminish yourself to keep it. Smart people trust in the unfolding of their lives. They know that rejection is often redirection. They trust that losing something that doesn't honor their worth is not a loss at all, but a divine course correction towards something far better. When you are rooted in self-worth, you become unshakable. People may misunderstand you, but they cannot diminish you. Situations may challenge you, but they cannot break you. You carry within you a foundation so strong, so deep, that no storm can uproot it. You learn that your value is innate, it is unconditional, it is infinite. And so you walk through the world differently. You choose relationships differently. You make decisions differently. You stop settling for crumbs when you know you deserve the whole table. You stop seeking approval and start living in alignment with your truth. You stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself, because the greatest gift you can give yourself is to know your worth deeply, unshakably, irrevocably. To hold your head High, not because the world says you're enough, but because you have finally decided to believe it for yourself. And once you believe it, truly believe it, no one can take it from you. Not ever. There is a profound difference between compassion and submission, and smart people know exactly where that line is drawn. Compassion is born out of strength. It is the ability to see another person's pain without letting it become your own prison. It is the gift of being able to hold space for someone's wounds without letting them wound you in the process. Compassion says, I see you, I care for you, but I will not lose myself to save you. It honors both your humanity and theirs. It says, I love you enough to want the best for you, but I love myself enough not to let your chaos destroy my peace. Submission, on the other hand, comes from fear. It is the quiet, aching surrender of your own needs, your own voice, your own dignity, in an effort to be accepted, to be loved, to keep the peace at any cost. It demands that you make yourself small so that someone else can feel big. It asks you to sacrifice your truth so that someone else can live more comfortably in their dysfunction. And smart people, people who have walked through enough fire to know better, understand that real love, real compassion never requires you to betray yourself. You can be kind without becoming a doormat. You can be empathetic without becoming entangled. You can listen without losing your own voice. Compassion doesn't mean saying yes when your soul is screaming no. It doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior in the name of understanding. It doesn't mean tolerating disrespect because you can see the wounded child behind the adult's bad behavior. Smart people have learned to lead with open hearts and strong backs. They lead with compassion, but their compassion is rooted in wisdom, not in weakness. They understand that just because you can feel someone's pain does not mean you are responsible for fixing it. Just because you have the capacity to heal does not mean you are obligated to heal everyone who crosses your path. Compassion says, I honor your journey, but I will not abandon mine to walk yours for you. It allows you to offer love without losing your boundaries. It allows you to show grace without sacrificing your standards. It allows you to be there for people without disappearing inside their stories. There is a sacred balance that smart people master, the balance between having a soft heart and a strong spine. They know how to say, I care about you, but I will not tolerate being mistreated. They know how to say, I forgive you, but I will not give you continued access to hurt me. They know how to say, I wish you healing, but I will not destroy myself trying to save you. Compassion without boundaries is self-destruction. And smart people have learned, often the hard way, that they cannot pour from an empty cup. They cannot offer light to others if their own fire has been extinguished. They understand that true compassion starts with compassion for themselves. They give themselves permission to walk away from what harms them, even when they understand why the other person behaves the way they do. And so they lead with love, but they do not bow in submission. They offer forgiveness, but not unlimited chances. They give support, but not their sanity. They believe in second chances, but not endless cycles of disrespect. They understand that compassion is not about losing yourself in someone else's storm. It's about holding steady in your own light and offering a hand only when it is safe and healthy to do so. In the end, compassion is a bridge, a way to connect hearts across the distance of pain. But it is never a change. It is never meant to bind you, to silence you, or to break you. Smart people lead with compassion because they know it's the highest form of strength. They choose love, but they never forget to choose themselves too. There is a sacred strength in knowing when it's time to walk away. not out of anger, not out of bitterness, not out of a need to prove anything, but out of a deep and quiet knowing that staying would cost you more than leaving ever will. Smart people understand that walking away is not a failure. It is not giving up. It is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of radical self-respect. It is an act of reclaiming your power, of choosing your peace over the endless war of trying to make something work that refuses to. Walking away when necessary is not about running from difficulty. It is not about avoiding the hard conversations or the effort that every relationship requires. Smart people are willing to do the work, to give the grace, to have the uncomfortable talks. But they also recognize when the work has become one-sided, when grace has turned into self-sacrifice, when conversations are no longer about healing, but about surviving the same hurt again and again. They know when enough is enough, and they're wise enough to honor that moment, no matter how hard it is. Because the truth is, not everyone who comes into your life is meant to stay. Some people are lessons wrapped in human form. Some situations are tests of your own self-love. And when you cling to what has already shown you it cannot grow with you, you don't just hurt yourself. You delay the blessings that are waiting for you down the road. Smart people trust that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself and even for the other person is to let go, to release the grip, to step away and allow life to heal what you cannot. It takes incredible courage to walk away when your heart is still invested. It takes tremendous faith to leave when your mind is still making excuses. It takes deep self-worth to understand that you deserve better, even when part of you is still willing to settle. Smart people listen to that small, wise voice inside, the one that says, you are not being loved the way you deserve to be loved. The one that says, you are worth more than the bare minimum. The one that says, this chapter has taught you enough, it's time to turn the page. Walking away is a declaration to the universe that you will no longer participate in anything that diminishes your light. It is a declaration that you are ready for relationships, opportunities, and environments that nurture your growth instead of stifling it. It is standing in the fierce, beautiful truth that your life is too precious to be wasted on what no longer serves your highest good. And so, smart people walk away, sometimes quietly, sometimes tearfully, sometimes trembling, but always with dignity. They do not slam doors. They close them gently but firmly. They do not curse the past. They bless it for the lessons and move forward with grace. They do not waste time trying to make others understand their decision because they know that true peace never needs a long explanation. Walking away when necessary is an act of love. Love for your future, love for your mental health, love for the person you are becoming. It is saying yes to freedom, to hope, to the life you were always meant to live. And while the leaving may hurt, the staying would hurt so much more. Smart people trust the process. They know that every ending is the soil from which a new beginning will bloom. They know that by walking away from what was never truly theirs, they make space for what is. And that is not weakness, that is not failure, that is power, that is wisdom, that is love in its highest, most honest form. Life will hand you moments of deep hurt. It will hand you betrayal, disappointment, misunderstanding. It will show you the best and worst sides of people you thought you knew. And when those moments come, it is so easy, so natural to hold on to the bitterness, to nurse the wound, to replay the offense over and over in your mind until it becomes a part of your identity. But smart people, wise people, know that while the pain may not be a choice, what you do with it always is. You can build your life around your wounds, or you can build your life around your healing. You can feed your grudges, or you can feed your growth. You cannot do both. Grudges may feel powerful at first. They may feel like armor, like a way to protect yourself from ever being hurt again. They may seem like justice, like a way of saying you don't get to hurt me and walk away without consequence. But in truth, grudges are chains. They bind you to the very pain you are trying to escape. They keep the story alive, keep the hurt fresh, keep the wound open. They trick you into believing you have power when really you are giving your power away, giving it to the very people and situations that tried to break you. Smart people have learned that their future is far too valuable to be built on the ruins of resentment. They know that every moment spent reliving the past is a moment stolen from the life they could be creating. Growth demands space. Space in your heart, space in your mind, space in your spirit. And holding on to grudges clutters that space with old stories that no longer serve you. Smart people clear the path. They do not deny what happened. They do not pretend it didn't hurt, but they make a conscious, sometimes daily, decision not to let it define them. Choosing growth over grudges is not about excusing bad behavior. It's not about pretending the betrayal didn't matter. It's about refusing to let it be the thing that decides who you become. It's about saying, yes, that happened. Yes, it hurt, but it will not have the final say in my story. It's about learning the lesson, collecting the wisdom, and then moving forward with more grace, more strength, more compassion, not less. When you focus on growth, you stop asking why something happened to you and start asking what it is trying to teach you. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as a student of your own life. You begin to understand that even the deepest wounds carry within them seeds of transformation if you are willing to tend them with care rather than bitterness. Growth means turning your face toward the sun even when your heart is heavy. It means reaching for your dreams even when the past tried to tell you you're not worthy. It means becoming more open, not more closed, more trusting, not more suspicious, more loving, not more guarded. Because every time you choose growth, you choose life, you choose possibility, you choose freedom. Smart people understand that forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It's about letting yourself off the hook. It's about refusing to carry anger that was never yours to bear. It's about traveling light so you can climb higher. It's about refusing to let your story end in bitterness when you have the power to turn it into something beautiful. At the end of the day, you get to decide what you carry and what you leave behind. Choose to carry wisdom. Choose to carry hope. Choose to carry strength. Leave behind the grudges